The distant thunder of artillery rattled the flimsy walls of the field hospital. Dust and smoke choked the air, thick with the scent of antiseptic and fear. Inside, it was organized chaos. Medics scrambled, shouting orders over the groans of the wounded. Stretchers lined the floor, a grim tableau of the battle raging just beyond the canvas flaps. In the midst of this whirlwind of urgency, one figure was an island of calm, Nurse Eva Rostova. She moved with quiet efficiency, her hands steady as she dressed a wound, her voice a low murmur of reassurance to a young soldier wide-eyed with shock. Around her, a squad of elite operators, their gear caked in mud and grime, moved with predatory grace. They were ghosts in the maelstrom, restocking ammo, their eyes scanning for threats, their world entirely separate from the medical triage. They barely registered her presence, a background element in their high-stakes reality. One of them, a broad-shouldered SEAL team leader, brushed past her, grabbing a plasma pack from a cooler. He spared her a fleeting, dismissive glance. "Just medical support," he muttered to his teammate, the words barely audible but sharp enough to cut through the noise. Eva didn't flinch. Her focus remained on the soldier in front of her, her movements precise, economical. She was used to being underestimated, to being invisible. It was part of her cover, a role she played to perfection. Suddenly, the world outside erupted. The rhythmic thump of enemy machine gun fire grew closer, angrier. Rounds started to rip through the tent walls, a deadly staccato that sent medics diving for cover. The operators were already moving, dropping to a knee, weapons up, calling out contacts. "Pillbox, to a clock. They've got us pinned," one shouted, the frustration clear in his voice. The situation was deteriorating fast. The incoming fire was too accurate, too overwhelming. They were trapped. That's when Eva finished tying off the last bandage. Slowly, deliberately, she rose to her feet. Her movements were fluid, devoid of the panic that had gripped the others. She walked past the cowering medics, her expression unreadable. Her eyes, however, were alive, scanning, calculating angles, assessing trajectories. She walked toward the edge of the tent, where a lone rifle leaned against a stack of supply crates and SR-25, a sniper's tool. The SEAL team leader watched her, a mix of confusion and irritation on his face. "Hey, nurse, get down," he yelled, but his voice was drowned out by another volley of gunfire. Eva didn't seem to hear him. Her hands, the same hands that had so gently tended to the wounded just moments before, wrapped around the rifle's grip. They were rock steady. Her knuckles were white, but not from fear. It was control. Her eyes locked onto the distant muzzle flashes. In that instant, the frantic noise of the battle seemed to fade away, replaced by the steady thumping of her own heart. The world narrowed to the space between her eye and the weapon's scope. She shouldered the rifle. It wasn't a clumsy, unfamiliar motion. It was a fluid, practiced movement, the stock settling into the hollow of her shoulder as if it were an extension of her own body. Her posture was textbook perfect, shoulders squared, a stable base, her breathing controlled, falling into the rhythmic pattern she had drilled thousands of times. Her finger curled around the trigger, resting lightly. She exhaled slowly, and in the quiet pause at the bottom of her breath, she squeezed. The rifle bucked, a single, sharp crack that was distinct from the chaotic chatter of automatic weapons. A clean, decisive shot, then another, and another. Each one was a statement, each one was a solution. Her movements were tactical, efficient. Fire, cycle the action, acquire a new target, breathe, fire again. Outside, the battlefield changed. One by one, the sources of enemy fire went silent. The oppressive weight of the machine gun nest was lifted. The operators, who had been pinned and preparing for the worst, looked up, bewildered. The relentless storm of bullets had simply stopped. An eerie silence fell over the medical tent, broken only by the distant, fading echo of Eva's last shot. The SEALs exchanged confused glances. They cautiously peered out of the shredded tent. The threat was gone, neutralized. Their team leader slowly turned his head, his gaze finding Eva. She was already lowering the rifle, her expression once again calm, her breathing even. The ghost was gone, and in her place stood a warrior. His mind reeled. He saw flashes not his, but hers. Snippets of a life he couldn't have imagined. Grueling training sessions in a remote, undisclosed location, her hands raw but her aim true. Late-night intelligence briefings in sterile, windowless rooms, her mind absorbing complex tactical data. Covert insertions under the cover of darkness, her skills honed in the deadliest shadows of the world. She wasn't support, she was the tip of the spear, hidden in plain sight. He and his men just stared, their mouths slightly agape. The rifles in their own hands suddenly felt heavier. Their world had been turned upside down by the one person they had completely overlooked. The quiet woman in scrubs, the one he had dismissed with 2 careless words, was not just a nurse. She was something else entirely. And they had no idea. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this story, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next one.